Welcome to the Explainer. Let's just jump right in, shall we? Today, we are looking at something absolutely mind-bending. We're diving deep into the teachings of teacher Lin-Ming Shang. What he does is he takes these incredibly profound ancient Buddhist and Taoist scriptures, and through his specific commentary, he reframes them into a brilliant, completely modern framework. Seriously, instead of treating these texts like rigid religious dogma, Teacher Lin's interpretation looks at them as literal user manuals for what he calls the ultimate human technology. So we're going to break down his exact masterclass on how to unlock your own true nature.
But hey, before we get into all the heavy theory, I actually want you to test this out yourself, right now. Just listen to the sound of my voice. Okay, now, when my voice stops, does your underlying ability to hear stop? Think about that for a second. The sound itself comes and goes, right? But that formless capacity you have to perceive it, that remains completely uninterrupted. This little experiment establishes the core mystery awareness we're tackling today, and it's literally the foundation of Teacher Lin's entire approach.
So here is Teacher Lin-Ming Shang's blueprint for unlocking that ultimate nature. We've got 1. The ultimate human technology. 2. Neurolinguistic Dharma door. 3. Sudden awakening from illusion. 4. Entering through the senses. And 5. Seeing your own mind. Let's get to it.
All right, Section 1, the ultimate human technology.
Teacher Lin actually grounds this whole technological concept in the Shurangama Sutra. There's this quote, "When you see brightness, seeing is not the brightness. When seeing sees seeing, seeing is not seeing." I know, it sounds like a total riddle, right? But Teacher Lin uses this specific line to precisely dissect how our perception actually works. It crucially separates the object being seen, like brightness or darkness or even emptiness, from the fundamental act of seeing itself. The object you're looking at is always changing, but the seer never changes. And this is where Teacher Lin brilliantly updates the ancient text for our modern minds. In his commentary, he argues that our vision is actually the highest technological manifestation in the human body. Why? Well, because it can literally see the continuous flow of its own visual discriminations in everything that pops up in front of you. The absolute key takeaway here is that the true seer, what he calls the original honored one, is completely formless and sightless. Yet somehow, from right inside that formlessness, it perfectly discerns all the bustling, chaotic phenomena of the real world. It's like the ultimate biological hardware.
Moving right along to Section 2, Neurolinguistic Dharma door.
So if our senses are the hardware, we need to understand the operating system, right? To do this, Teacher Lin fundamentally reinterprets the core of Buddhism. Traditionally, you have the 3 jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, which usually mean awakening, correctness, and purity. But look at Teacher Lin's framework. He defines the Buddha specifically as the eternal silent light. The Dharma, he says that's the actual physical recitation of Namo Amitabha Buddha. And the Sangha is the non-duality, the perfect, seamless merging of that Buddha and Dharma. Grasping his specific commentary here is absolutely crucial, because he's taking what is normally abstract theology and turning it into a highly functional system. And this framework builds into a really specific practical procedure. Step 1, a sound arises. Step 2, your mind is tied to the front by reciting the Buddha's name. Basically, every single sound you hear simply becomes a reminder to recite. Then, step 3, that formless, silent light we just talked about instantly transcends, merges with, and discerns that sound, which leads to step 4, sudden awakening. Teacher Lin points out that this is a system meticulously designed by Amitabha Buddha. It takes this huge, lofty concept and boils it down into a clear, actionable, and, honestly, incredibly simple daily procedure that yields profound results.
Okay, Section 3. Sudden awakening from illusion.
To really explain how this awakening happens, Teacher Lin draws heavily on the Sutra of Perfect Enlightenment, specifically this absolute golden verse from Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. It says, "To know illusion and depart from it immediately requires no expedient means. To depart from illusion is to awaken instantly, with no gradual stages." Teacher Lin points out that the huge takeaway here is the complete, outright rejection of the idea that enlightenment has to be this slow, agonizing, step-by-step grind. In his synthesis, it is immediate, boom. In his commentary on this, Teacher Lin highlights that this, right here, is the ultimate expression of the sudden teaching. The exact second you recognize your body, your mind, and your surrounding world as illusory transformations, you depart from them. Just like that. You don't need to create any complex workarounds or go through 20 different stages. Knowing and departing happen instantly. departing and awakening happen instantly. It's just a direct shift in perspective, completely powered by that formless awareness we were talking about earlier.
Which brings us to section 4, entering through the senses.
So let's circle back to that little exercise we did at the very beginning of the explainer. Sound constantly arises and ceases, right? And normally it's clung to by the deluded mind. But contrast that fleeting sound with your fundamental capacity of hearing. Your hearing is formless, it's signless, and it literally never ceases. When a specific sound is gone, the underlying hearing is still right there. Teacher Lin notes that the wise recognize only this constant hearing, and they just don't cling to the temporary sound. This perfectly illustrates his teachings on the true constant from the Taoist scripture of constant purity and tranquility. Now, this constant nature isn't just in your hearing. Teacher Lin actually maps out 10 specific manifestations of our nature across all our faculties. It's in your eyes as vision. It's in your nose, discerning sense. In your mind as cognition. Your true nature is operating all of these functions right this second. But, and this is a big but, Teacher Lin highly recommends starting with either vision or hearing. Why those two? Because they are by far the most immediate and the easiest to grasp in our crazy daily lives. Just noticing your vision or noticing your hearing is the absolute most direct doorway into this practice. Finally, section 5, seeing your own mind.
I love this part. Teacher Lin introduces this striking, super modern metaphor. You know that constant nonstop chatter in our heads? He calls those informational thoughts. This includes all of our ingrained habits, our karmic forces, and that endless flow of discriminations just bouncing around inside the brain. Teacher Lin explains that by using that neurolinguistic tool we mentioned, reciting the Buddha's name, you are actively purifying those karmic impurities. You literally stop identifying with the random informational thoughts, and you start identifying with the formless awareness that's observing them. That shift, that transforms your entire personality into what he calls seeing the nature.
Now, to anchor all these lofty, abstract concepts, Teacher Lin shares this amazing, relatable anecdote about Grandma Wang. Now, Grandma Wang was just a simple follower of folk deities, definitely not some high-level academic scholar. Yet, by doing this exact practice of chanting, she experienced a miraculous, completely tangible response. She simply stated, "Amitabha Buddha sprinkled water on me." Teacher Lin uses this to brilliantly illustrate that this technology isn't just a bunch of theoretical philosophy for monks. It is a practical, super accessible tool that yields real-world resonance, no matter what your background is. Which brings us to the ultimate truth of the true Dharma I treasury. Look at this quote from Lin's commentary. "The Dharma is fundamentally the Dharma of no Dharma. The no Dharma Dharma is also Dharma. Now that the time of no Dharma has been transmitted, how can the Dharma of Dharma ever be Dharma?" Okay, it's a tongue twister, for sure. But what this reveals is that the ultimate truth isn't some fixed concept or rigid rule. It is the true person of no position operating right there inside you. It's that clear, solitary illumination, the eternal silent light that just responds to whatever is right in front of it, completely without attachment. So, as we wrap up this explainer on teacher Lin Mingsheng's framework, I want to leave you with one final provocative question. Right now, at this exact moment, what specific informational thoughts are arising and flowing through your own brain? Are you the thoughts? Or are you the formless, highly advanced technology that is quietly observing them? Take this ancient technology, turn it inward, and just see what you discover. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.